Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well. Well, hello. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats. Good to see you up and at it. A couple of the early birds are there already. So good morning to you guys. I hope you're well. Do the quick intros and warm-ups as we get into the day. Jason Witten's my name. If anyone's new or if you're just popping along for the first time, maybe you've just joined our coaching and mentoring programs from one of our teams or coaches. If that's you, fantastic to have you here. Awesome to have you on Wealth Coffee Chats. Morning, Sonny. How are you, mate? Luke's in the house. Great to have you here. Folks, we get together about 8:10 each work day, Monday to Fridays. And we talk about the world of property investing, going the distance, folks. It takes a bit of time to do this thing. And morning, Edmund. Great to have you here. Tim, it's springtime. Maybe springtime will bring a little bit of the winds of change, folks, in the world of property investing and what we're up to. Rosie's there too. Morning, Rosie. Great to have you here. Good to see you. Well, listen, folks, this morning I thought we might have a little conversation, a little chat, little Wealth Coffee Chat about who writes the rules of wealth. I was creating a presentation over the weekend, doing a few things here and there, and there's kind of three players, three kind of groups of people in this country, Australia. This is Australia. It probably is very poignant from around the world, to be quite honest. But at the moment, I'm just having a look at the information, the data, the details, my experience in Australia. Three groups of people that write the rules, create the rules, positive or negative, by the way. They can be in a positive way. It can be in a negative way. Write the rules of wealth in this country. And thought we might talk about them this morning. Morning, Stephen. Grant's there too. Morning, mate. How are you? Great to have you here. So who do you think might be one of the three or all of the three? Put it in the chat for me. Who are the three groups of people, professionals? I wouldn't even call them professionals. They're pains in the ass. Anyway, these three groups influence in a positive or negative way our wealth in this country. Australia, fantastic place, very attractive place to be from an investment point of view.
great place to live in the world, very attractive, for all sorts of reasons. And our legislation, our system is created by, certain groups of people. Tim, Tim's onto it today. Sonny, government. Well, yeah, the government certainly have major influence, folks, over our wealth. And in there's some groups of people, certainly a bunch of them involved in this lot here. Certainly. So I thought we'd talk about that today for sure. Banks. Yep, absolutely, Sonny. So who are the three groups of people, folks, that have the sway, the influence over our world when it comes to our wealth? Certainly 100%. The first group of people, politicians. The politicians, folks. There's a T. Politicians. Politicians create absolute mania. Depending on the politicians, which ones are in power, which ones are carrying on like pork chops, which ones have some agenda to push, some barrow to push, will influence heavily, folks, your wealth, right? So, for example, in the world of property investing, here's just a couple of examples from this weekend. Yep. So let's have a look at this. The politicians down in Victoria. Now, listen, I tell you what, the Victorians are getting a beating by their police. They're absolute muppets down there. Absolute muppets. Desperation. And they're just grabbing and jabbing the existing property investors. Now, on the flip side, there's some value in Victoria, but I'll talk about that a bit later. But look at this rubbish. Not only do they, the politicians in Victoria go, you know what, we're going to charge more land tax, but you know what? What we're going to do is, because we don't want anyone travelling to our state, we want to get rid of Airbnb. We want to charge Airbnb operators another 7.5%. So on top of that, the local councils are charging more rates. They're requiring, other bits and pieces. It's ludicrous, right? So here's just a perfect example. So just arbitrarily, abracadabra, right? Change the rules. However, just they're feeling like, oh, you know what? We've fucked it up when it comes to the state's housing issues. So we're going to blame others, and now we're going to charge, investors 7.5% because we feel like it. How's that bullshit? How is that bullshit, right? What absolute rubbish, right? Check out this. This is another one of those politician turkeys, right? There's an idea. Let's crack down on, landlords. Let's crack down on them. They can't put their rents up. They're rich. They're wealthy. Like absolute muppets. These Greens are out of control. Out of control, folks. The idea that you can say, listen, you can't manage or control your own pricing when it comes to a free market is lunacy. It's ludicrous, right? And, at the end of the day, the government's failure to provide a pipeline of housing construction for the nation, it's not that damn difficult, but they've absolutely balls it up, absolutely stuffed it. And you know what they want to do? Muppets like this, and these sorts of Muppets want to go and blame the regular, everyday property investor and charge them or turn them into baddies. Absolute Muppets. So, folks, listen, at the end of the day, I don't think any of the politicians have our best interest in mind, no matter who they are. But I can tell you something, folks. If you vote for the wrong people, your wealth is going to be destroyed, right? And I'm not being dramatic here, because some Muppets like that guy, they don't give a shit about you. But here's the thing, There's two things with this politician. Sounds like I'm on a bloody political rant here, but I'm not. These guys here, these people, right? They have a conflict of interest. right? Why are they conflicted, folks? Why are they conflicted? Because the decisions they make, let's just take superannuation, for example. Superannuation, they're changing all these tax laws for superannuation. You know what? Politicians are going to be outside of those superannuation changes, you know? Politician, you know, they can have 2 houses capital gains tax free, right? They make decisions, and the decisions that affect us now then don't affect them. Absolute. Yep, exactly. So anyway, I could probably talk all day about them. I don't want to. Basically, vote for people who've got half a brain, right? Because here's the drill, folks. Here's the drill. You know, if you think those Muppets are going to go and organise themselves properly and look after you, they're not. They've got zero interest in it. They've got zero interest in it. What they're doing now is they're arranging themselves so they can take a bigger share of your super that, you know, they've encouraged people to put money into, and now they're going to tax it. Anyway, don't get me started. Anyway, politicians, absolute Muppets, all of them. I don't care who they are. Unfortunately, they don't have your best interest in mind. The banks, folks, the banks, politicians and the banks. For most Aussies, these two, the RBA, APRA, anyone like that, right? These institutions have no interest in creating you wealthy, right? Their jobs is to put their hand in your pocket and take money out, right? The politicians make it easy for them, unfortunately, because they don't want lots of different banks and good competition in this country. Now, there's a balancing act there. You know, on one side makes Australia a bit more stable when it comes to banking. On the other side, the competition and what they get away with is ludicrous. At the end of the day, that's where we are. Now, what can we do about this and the rules later on? We'll talk about that in a minute. But who creates the rules? The rules of engagement? Well, the politicians, the banks. You know, they'll create how we get access to money. And part of this other group, so regulators. Now, these are the three. So who are regulators? APRA, ATO, ASIC, you know, ACCC, and so on. Right? These are government groups, but they've got their own agendas in what they do, and they have their own budgets and bits and pieces, right? So we've got to understand. So in our world of creating and keeping wealth, folks, we've got to understand what happens when these people make decisions and change the rules or decide that, you know, they want more power or whatever it might be, right? So APRA messes with our ability for lending and borrowing, right? Again, they single-handedly, APRA, if you track proper stats, go and have a look at Dr. Andrew Wilson. Have a look at Dr. Andrew Wilson. When they did the lending inquiry in 2016 and 17, they single-handedly, their lending inquiry, by changing the lending rules in Australia, the single largest total capital median house price drop in Australia ever in history, orchestrated by APRA. I'm laughing, but not at anyone. I'm just like, you're kidding me? And, you know, they talk about all this other rubbish, you know, like, you know, oh, the GFC and all that sort of stuff. Did nothing in comparison to what APRA did, all right? The ATO, ASIC, when it comes to, you know, those in business and you know, other things that people get up to, ACCC. Now, all of these institutions and groups of people are required for our system, our business, the world of how we create wealth. But for you, for me, what do we need to do? What do we do when it comes to this stuff, and how do we manage it? Well, you need to understand the rules, right? You need to know what the rules are, folks. You need to know what the rules are. And this is the thing with the rules of wealth and the rules of engagement. You know, if you're going to create wealth over, a 40 to 50 year period, and this is the reality of our life, folks, from probably the ages of 25 to, let's call it, 85. 25 to 85. How many years is that? Is that 60 years? Yeah, maybe 40 to 50, but call it 60 years. There are going to be some ebbs and flows and changes of the rules, right? And you've got to have some people on your side who understand those rules. And that's what we talk about here all the time. Who are the people on your team that are going to help you with those rules and understand those, right? So the main two experts in this sort of space is going to be your financial planner and your accountant. But really, you've got to have a investment coach as well. You've got to have a wealth coach who drives those forward to make sure we understand things. Over a 60-year period, those rules could change multiple times. So I don't know. At the end of the day, we were chatting to Andy Fenton the other day, and over the last, 12 years or 15 years or something, the rules for super have changed, 22 times or something. There's been legislation changes, so many times. So for us, what does it mean? What's the takeaway? We're not in charge of the rules. Few takeaways. You're not in charge of the rules. So be very mindful of who you put in charge of those rules. Let's just be honest. Be mindful of who you vote for if wealth is a primary driver for you. Number two, understand the rules, right? So, understand the rules and how you can use them. Now, this is the good thing, 3 takeaways. You're not in charge. That's fine. Understand the rules. Understand how you can use them. All right. Understand how you can use them and know that things will change. All right. Things will change over time, and we need to make sure we keep up to date with that with the right team. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense, folks, when it comes to the rules of wealth that we all need to engage in and participate in if we want to create, make, keep, hard-earned wealth as we've gone along in our lives. There you go. Anyway, Wealth Coffee Chat, done and dusted. That's it from me. Join us tomorrow for another Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. I'll probably hand it over to the team tomorrow. I'm catching up with my leadership team tomorrow for 3 days, so I'll get the team to do a couple of Wealth Coffee Chats. And until I catch up with you next week it will be. Be good, folks. Take care. Remember, this thing's a marathon, not a sprint. Take some time to create your property portfolio, folks. So till then, take care. Bye for now. See ya.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the Six Star team